So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the latest in my Space 1999 podcast. Like to give a good shout out to all the supporters on the Space 1999 Facebook site that are listening to my words as we speak or hope to. So, we're going to talk something very specifically, not what was filmed, but what was happening behind the scenes between season one and season two. And bear with me, there's a lot of drama here, so it takes a little while to go through because I'm culling my information from my personal recollections and different sources. Now, the first series had great success with Barbara Bain, Martin Landau, Barry Morris as the key three players. It had great reception throughout the world. Now, the British-Italian production was, number one in Canada and different countries. A lot of residents, a lot of merchandise sales, but for some reason, following completion of the first series, the production team wanted to start in autumn, or like what we call in Canada, fall of '75. Now, co-creator Jerry Anderson had staff writer Johnny Byrne do some background on the first 24 episodes, looking at their strengths and weaknesses, of course, to try to make a more profitable and more productive and more impactful second season. Now, Byrne started on a few scripts, including The Biological Soul, The Face of Eden, Children of Gods, and he engaged a British writer, also Donald James, to work on the first series format story called The Exiles. Now, the big problem with ITC in relation to the production had nothing to do with the funding, but all material had to be vetted by ITC's New York office. Now, the big compromise ITC gave was to hire a high-profile American staff writer-producer, and at the same time, Sylvia Anderson left her role as producer when she and Jerry broke up and eventually divorced. And of all people, Fred Freeberger, who was involved heavily in the third season of Star Trek in '88-'89, was considered for the writing position, and he was then brought on board to help to guide the series as a producer and showrunner. Now, he was also known for Wild Wild West, and later on was known for producing $6 Million Man, and also great credits including Slattery's People, The Iron Horse, All in the Family, Petrocelli, which was a very underrated show, and Starsky and Hutch. Now, Anderson and Lou Grade were very pleased with the choice of Freiberger, but Abe Mandel, who was very heavily involved in the project, publicly said he didn't understand why he was not asked to come back. Now, here's the big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Lou Grade was big on ratings, and when he found out, he was president of ITC at the time, he decided to cancel the series production in late '75 because he felt that the ratings in the United States for the series had dropped in repeats, and he was also disappointed by the lack of an American network broadcast sale because the show initially was put together to talk about having one of the three major networks pick it up. And he still had hopes as well, but Anderson and Freeberger then rallied and pitched the idea of a new series with the addition of an alien character, which ended up being the shapeshifter Maya by the beautiful Catherine Schell, who ended up being probably one of the most key characters in 1970 science fiction TV history. He felt she would shake up the dynamic of the interaction on the moon base and regain viewer interest in the United States. The alien character Maya played was from the planet Psychon, and Mandel, who was still involved somewhat in the process, he was given the permission to approve and renewal the series for a second year. Now, there were some major changes entering season two, including the absence of Professor Bergman, Barry Morse. Now, arguably, some people say it was due to a salary dispute, but Morris later said he was glad to leave, and because he told Anderson, he said the show was too childlike for him, for his adult talent. Now, with the number three, the McCoy style number three on the show was taken over by the Maya character, and she shared traits of Spock, and actually Dr. Bergman. So she had heavy problem solving skills and advanced intelligence, and she was a beautiful lady, and there's no denying it. And she came across as a charming, fully emotional person. I really enjoyed her in second season, even though the makeup wasn't consistent from episode to episode. We all know that putting on makeup in the 1970s, there was no consistency. It's not like modern style. She had this curvature, kind of a cheetah pattern on her face, and it would vary from episode to episode, sometimes larger, sometimes smaller, but that's neither here nor there. And the other major character that came on was the love interest, and kind of the number four, played by Tony Verdeschi, who basically started in a romantic relationship with the Catherine Schell character. And Nick Tate was also back with a kind of a somewhat bigger role, very important to have him there because first season he was the hero in many episodes, and he was sort of like the Scotty of I know there's a lot of comparisons to Star Trek and Space 1999. Now for me, second season, we're going to go into some of the episodes down the road. I didn't like second season as much as first season, but because first season were just so bright and so new, second season seemed more North American sci-fi rather than the British sci-fi feel of the first season. Now, it's hard when we look back to really uh, criticize both seasons because each one had its faults, each one had its benefits. But for me, the metamorphic aspect of the Catherine Schell character drew a lot of anticipation because we really didn't know what insect or animal or alien form she was going to turn into. And I give full credit to the what they call the development staff. And season two is great. You got the big two-parter where these aliens come back and confuse the Alphans that they're going to get home, and you got various planets and different places they're visiting. There was more action in season two, while in character development, season one was again very dry. But for me, it's better because I don't want action all the time. I want to basically look at the importance of trying to understand why you haven't lost your friggin' mind because the moon is split off from the Earth. I like a cerebral style of season one. Season two was more 10 for the 10-year-olds, while the first season was more like the 14 and up. But that's neither here nor there. People are fans of both seasons. God bless them. Now we're going to talk about the big last change is that the first season gave a preview of the episode to come in each episode, while season two has a more dramatic score and everything's a little bit more fluid, like the introduction of the Barbara Bain and Landau characters. They're moving in action, and that's a big difference. Season two had more action. Season one more cerebral. Neither here nor there. It depends what you like. Some people like chicken. Some people like turkey. Me, I just like anything that's barbecued, but except for Metamorph or something, because leave the Metamorphs alone. They get enough flack in other shows. So on this Saturday rainy day in New Brunswick, we tell everybody to keep your stick on the ice. And Canada is celebrating in today. Our phenom, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., second home run of the season in Chicago last night. He's having a great week. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs this week. And for the Americans and the worldwide listeners who don't know who Vladimir Guerrero is, well, he is a tremendous Canadian icon. If you want to find out about Canada's love of baseball, watch the reaction of Vladimir Guerrero every time he comes to the plate. It's quite amazing. Similar to Pele in soccer, we all get excited when Vlad comes to the plate. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.